This is big breaking news. The federal government is now sending out letters to states, and over 40 million people will be affected starting November 1st. They are warning states that funds will not be distributed for major programs, all right, and people are not going to get their money. So they're expecting this government shutdown to continue. The federal government is warning the states that this is going to happen, and certain states have already started to withhold funds actually for benefits for people. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see it says millions of Americans are at risk of losing food stamps next month amid the shutdown. All right, you can see here as well, it says that Coloradans may not receive SNAP benefits in November due to government shutdown. You can see this letter that they're sending out to people, and Colorado has already started to withhold the benefits. You can see here, this is what was posted on the Pennsylvania SNAP website. This is what they're saying. They're going to stop benefits on October 16th. It says federal government shutdown update. It says because Republicans in Washington, D.C. failed to pass a budget causing the federal government shutdown, November 2025 SNAP benefits cannot be paid. Starting October 16, SNAP benefits will not be paid until the federal government shutdown ends and funds are released to Pennsylvania. We will notify SNAP recipients when payments can resume, and we will let you know when to expect SNAP payments. Please be patient and respectful to our staff while we assist you through these changes caused by the federal government shutdown. If you need immediate food assistance, call 211 or visit feedingpa.org or panavigate.org. Okay, so that's what the Pennsylvania SNAP website is saying. Starting October 16th, they are not giving out any benefits. Okay, Colorado is withholding these benefits as well too now. All right, multiple different states are saying this. You can see here, this is what the USDA Secretary Brooke Rowland said. She said, quote, because of the Democrat shutdown, there are not enough funds to provide SNAP for 40 million Americans come November 1st. Democrats are putting free healthcare for illegal aliens in their political agenda ahead of food security for American families. Quote, shameful. All right, so 40 million people. I didn't realize there were that many people on, and it's a big deal for some people, right? And a lot of people depend on this, and they could be going hungry, right? Some people are, do abuse the system, but some people actually really need this money, and it's definitely going to affect them. And this shutdown is expected to potentially be one of the longest government shutdowns in history. And this is what happens, a lot of people's lives kind of become the political football in the middle of all this, right? So it's, it's kind of good to have it shut down in some sense, right? They're able to cut a lot of wasteful spending programs, but then other people's, paychecks and lives and things like this, benefits, are now being delayed. We could even see delays in Social Security, disability, veterans, VA benefits. All these things could definitely be affected, all right? And something to think about is the political unrest we're already seeing. All right, you can see here, this is what's happening across the country right now. And if these benefits get cut off, then we could see people, freak out even more. It could just be another excuse for people to really kind of lose their mind and, get even crazier. So we saw these big protests today. Some of them seemed a little suspicious, all right, but there were definitely a lot of people there. They were saying there were, quote, millions of people there apparently across the country in different cities. It was a, quote, No Kings protest, that's what they're calling it. I really don't understand it. Honestly, the No Kings branding doesn't really seem like a good like protest brand to me, but what do I know? I guess they got millions of people out there, but some of it people were saying looked a little suspicious. Like right at 1 p.m., people were saying, all the people left. Like people were just left out, started leaving certain areas. People were speculating, some of them were paid to be there. They were handing out flyers of what to say, for their little chants, things like that. They're definitely like big organizers and big groups and big money behind it. How much and how many people were like paid to actually be there, I'm not sure, but there are definitely some people paid to be there and organizing these big protests, all right? So mix that with, benefits being cut off, food stamps, things like that. Who knows? We could see some of these cities, just fall further into chaos. Hopefully not, that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Let's listen to President Trump really quick here, and then we will dive into some more details on these benefits being cut off.
So the shutdown continues. The Republican Party's not going to pay $1.5 trillion to illegal immigrants coming into our country, coming in for a lot of reasons, coming in from prisons, from jails, from all over the place, from Venezuela, many countries. We're not going to do that. So the shutdown continues. It's a Democrat shutdown. It's a Schumer shutdown because his career has failed and it's over. I met with President Zelensky, as you know, today.
All right, so that was Trump's comments of the day on the shutdown. Okay, he's saying that it's Democrats' fault they won't come to the table. They are still proposing this open. And this is totally true, all right? This has been happening for years now and I've even seen it myself, okay? I've seen the screenshots and I've even double-checked these things, tested it out. There's even buttons to click and places to put where you are not a U.S. citizen and you don't have all your paperwork or documentation, things like that, when you're applying for SNAP benefits or Medicare or Medicaid benefits as well too. Okay, there's a checkbox there, and it pretty much allows you to apply without the typical paperwork that U.S. citizens need, and it allows them access, right? In a lot of states, right? I've even seen this in Florida, okay? I've seen it tested there. So this is happening all over the place. Maybe it's fixed now, but throughout the years, I've reported on these things, and this has been going on for years, all right? Where people can get access to these benefits if they're not U.S. citizens, and that's one of the biggest issues that the Republicans are having right now. The other major issue with that is a lot of people that aren't U.S. citizens or in the country legally, if they can't get Medicare or Medicaid, then they will just go to the emergency room for everything, okay? And then that essentially just becomes free. The hospital just eats the debt because it's just like they don't pay it, and there's no one really to bill because they're not even in the country legally. They don't have the proper, credit accounts and things like that to even bill them properly. So the hospitals just end up eating millions of dollars. I remember one hospital system in Denver, Colorado, like a year or two ago, had to eat over $100 million. I think it was $120 million around. And I think it was the biggest hospital system in Denver had to eat over $120 million in debts that they provided, or that they had to go into to provide care for people that were not even U.S. citizens, okay, in the country illegally, potentially, a lot of them. So it's collapsing our medical systems too. Even if the federal government isn't paying for it, they're not on Medicaid or anything like that, it's still a major strain for the hospital system. And a lot of these people are getting SNAP benefits as well too, and that creates pressure on food prices. Okay, food inflation. If more people are getting, money for free to buy food, it inevitably is going to increase the price of food a little bit, all right? And some people need it, but some of these systems and some of these programs are abused, and it's definitely causing major issues and causing massive waste as well too, all right? So this is already starting, all right? They're saying it's going to be official November 1st, and a lot of these states are in all the states, but a lot of these states are actually already doing this right now, all right? Starting October 16th, all right? This video is being recorded October 18th, so Pennsylvania's already doing this. So if it's like your day to get it, I'm not sure exactly how they do it, but I believe it's, probably every day, certain amounts of people get their, 10% of people get their benefits or whatever, and they're gonna cut that off, right? So you can see here that different states are commenting on it. It says New York Governor Kathy Hochul blasted the Trump administration for requiring states to halt the process of issuing monthly benefits. Quote, "This is a deliberate and unprecedented decision intended to inflict pain on millions of hardworking American families. The federal government should do everything in its power to prioritize the most vulnerable and to make funding available for this critical program." Well, the funding is just not there, all right? So they can't give the funding unless the federal government creates a continuing resolution or a budget and gives the executive branch the money to then distribute to the USDA. So the money's not even there. They were even talking about, Trump was saying that one of his very wealthy like Republican donors or friends, something like that, political ally, some very wealthy individual attached to the Republican Party, he didn't say exactly, was willing to pay the salary for the U.S. troops during the shutdown. Okay, so that's the point it's coming to. Kind of crazy that that's even being discussed. Some like super billionaire paying the troops salary. That's like so weird and unheard of, but it's kind of cool that he's offering to do that, but it's just kind of crazy at the same time. So if there's not money for the troops to even get paid, then there's not money for food stamps. They can't just create the money, all right? There's nothing they can really do. They need to create a budget, or a continuing resolution is most likely what they are going to create. So thank you guys. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared, staying stocked up. If you guys were listening to me to get stocked up however many years I've been telling you, and this affects you, then you should have a little bit of a stockpile at least to maybe get you through this, get you through a rough patch, right? Or even if this doesn't affect you, you could lose your job. You could lose, your money. You could lose your health, and then you can't work. Like, there's things that can happen, so it's always good to have some type of stockpile. There could be an emergency. There could be an event that happens, all right? So just be prepared, be stocked up. Hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.